Hey guys, welcome to Checkerboard Chat yet again. This is Trenton Duffer, that's Rob Harvey. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are live streaming this, so you can check the Daily Beacons Facebook to watch that live stream. Coming off a great Tennessee win last night, 55-0 over Tennessee Tech. The opponent really wasn't, glamorous.
They could have been the worst team I've ever seen at Neyland Stadium. Like it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, is that a conversation you think that the team should have, or not the team, but do you think that's a conversation we should have? Is that were they the worst team that's ever come into Neyland Stadium?
I mean, I was thinking about it last night. They beat Georgia State 70-3 one year. It was terrible. But I mean, that team was horrible. Mm-hmm. No offense to them. I have a really good friend who's on the Tennessee Tech team, but they were. Yikes!
It was rough, and
it's understandable too. They're rebuilding. They're in the FCS. They're playing Tennessee.
They have a first-year coach. Yeah, Marcus Satterfield, who I don't know if you saw his quote after the game, but he said they asked him what his take on was from this game, and he goes, "We're taking our check and going home." And I thought that was the funniest thing because they got paid $500,000 to come play here, to come an hour and a half and play. And I mean, they're fine. I mean, they've won 3 games this year, I think. Yeah. I mean, and that Bird and Bird song was Bird song, I think, and Bird. Yeah, but they weren't that bad. The offensive line just didn't block for the quarterback, but Bird had 148 receiving yards. Yeah,
he went terrible.
They had Bird and Bird song. Bird song did decent. I mean, I think
he made some really good passes. He did, but he just had no time. He got killed every single time.
Yeah, and so you can't really blame Tech for that, but. You talked about that. Who'd you say it was? Georgia State, 70-3.
It wasn't. It was something similar to that.
I think it was.
Western Kentucky, they beat 65-0.
Yeah, it was. I want to say Louisiana Monroe in 2000. Tennessee won. It was on homecoming. Tennessee won 70-3.
They played Louisiana Lafayette in 07 at homecoming and beat them 56-0.
Yeah,
too. So,
maybe
it's just homecoming.
It may have been Louisiana Lafayette, but Louisiana Monroe. I know they played.
Because I'm pretty sure they played Memphis homecoming 2000. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I looked that up this week and saw that. But anyway, they've beaten homecoming teams really bad, but this team was.
Yeah, I won't say this is the worst team that's ever come to Neyland Stadium.
No, it wasn't, but they're up there.
Yeah, they're definitely up there. I mean, at one point, you're thinking, is this going to be Georgia State Cumberland? From 1960.
Georgia Tech Cumberland.
Georgia Tech Cumberland. I'm sorry.
200 and whatever.
Yeah, 222-0. I can't imagine being a part of a game like that.
That'd be incredible.
And didn't Georgia Tech have
2 passing yards or something ridiculous? Yeah. It was all rushing yards.
Over 700 rushing yards.
I mean, it was more than over 1,000 rushing yards. It was ridiculous.
But that's off subject. Back to the Vols. Everything seemed to click for them, and it seemed that they tried different plays.
Yeah, I don't think they – I think it was different. They didn't go with the same 3 plays over. And it could have also been we just were masked by the fact that John Kelly could actually run the ball and gain some few yards. Instead of being however tall Mr. Hurd was and averaging 2 yards a carry. So.
Yeah, this team's not going to miss Jalen Hurd.
And you can easily tell that because you could see how much they like John Kelly. When John Kelly was in the press conference afterwards, Cortez McDowell and Marcos Callaway and Carlin Filsamy are all back there messing with him, trying to get him distracted, showing how comfortable they are with him. And Butch has said he's already a leader and he's just a sophomore on the team. Yeah, and
he said, after the game that this is what he came to this program to do is to be a starting running back. Yeah. And that's rare when you get a guy to come up who, as young as he is, to come up and just say, I came here expecting to start.
Right.
That's he's got some guts.
And he said it before, and it's so true. You can tell he runs angry.
Yeah.
He said that's the way he's been taught his whole life. But he runs angry. He will not go down first hit. It takes 2 or 3 hits to bring him down.
It does. Even his first run, it was only 9 yards, but
he broke a couple tackles. Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, look at this!"
It's so strange to see a Tennessee running back who actually tries, other than Kamara.
And I know you tweeted this out, but he got the loudest cheer. When they announced the starting lineups,
he did. Louder than Dobbs,
louder than Barnett. Well, Butch got a few boos, but
yeah, he did get a few boos, and we'll talk more about Butch Jones
and his boos,
and his boos a little bit later. But John Kelly just Like, I love this kid.
I do too. He's just an awesome person to talk to.
And I think everybody does because
he's just so pleasant to be around. Like talking to him and everything, it's just a pleasant thing.
Yeah, and just I know I tweeted out last night like he was like a kid in a candy shop.
He was,
and he was just up there smiling real big and like everybody
he answered questions perfectly. He wasn't Josh Dobbs where he'll talk for a minute and he'll say stuff, but it means nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Butch hasn't transformed him yet.
He's not a Butch clone yet.
He's not a Butch clone yet. Yeah,
but
just wait till he comes in with a crew cut. It's game over.
Yeah, but filling in for Kamara, he did fantastically. 7 rushes for 104. I think it was 104 yards.
Was it 7 rushes? I thought it was like 9, but it doesn't matter.
But 7 or 9.
Yeah, he had 104 yards.
Yeah,
and I mean, one of that was off a 73-yard touchdown, but still.
I mean,
and he had a reception too. That was pretty nice. Play.
Yeah, I mean, you take away that long run, and he still had 6 for. What would that be? 31?
31.
Something like that.
Which is better than Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd would have games where he'd have 12 for 8.
Yeah. And then so 6 for 31. That's 5 yards a carry. That's about all you can ask for from a running back. Yeah. Truthfully, and
especially when he played a quarter and a half. And that was it. Like they took him and Dobbs out with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. And put in Dormady and Phil's and me. Don't even get me started on Dormady. I know you're about to freak out because I said his name, but he did not play well.
Okay,
let's move on a little from running here. Let's talk about Quentin Dormady.
Quentin Dormady is a quarterback that
is very inconsistent.
I don't think he's not an SEC quarterback.
No, he's not. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that
unless he played at Kentucky.
I would say he's not a quarterback that fits well in Tennessee's system because he is so slow.
I mean, he could play at Vanderbilt. I'm sure.
He could play.
Kyle Shermer can't get any worse than what he is.
I mean, he could be decent at Ole Miss because they throw the ball 400 times, and I mean, he'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's going to have to run the ball and like break out of the pocket because the offensive line just isn't as good, he's not. He's not going to be. I think he transfers at some point.
Yeah, that's what Rob and I and David Bradford and Tyler Wombles, our women's basketball beat writers, were actually talking about before this podcast. They think that Dormady is going to start next year over Guarantano
to start the season,
and then people are going to, he's going to get hurt or they're not going to be good, and fans are going to want JG to come in, and then he'll come
Jared Guarantano for those of you at home.
Jared Guarantano. And, Guarantano will come in and he'll upstage, I almost said Peterman, Dormady. And he'll upstage Dormady, and then Dormady will transfer to another school, which is kind of like the story of Nathaniel Peterman, if you think about it.
You mean Nathan Peterman? You were absolutely terrible.
I love Nathaniel. No, it is Nathaniel. They did say Nathaniel.
No, they didn't.
At times
no,
they did.
No,
yes,
they did. You were absolutely 100%.
The roster said Nathaniel.
No, it did not. It says Nathan Peterman on it. No,
I know it
you were 100% wrong. We have to do this once every time.
Maybe
you miss something up every time.
Maybe I called him Nathaniel.
McKay Abernathy. I've never heard that before. McKay. It's Micah. Micah.
Anyway, if I get you in a headlock.
Nathan Peterman.
Nathan Peterman. I can't say Nathaniel. I know. But but Peterman had that last year, Dobbs came in and not last year.
It's like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Came in and just got upstaged by Dobbs. Dobbs, I can't talk today. Came up and got upstaged by Dobbs. And,
But I wouldn't,
he went to Pittsburgh and he's doing pretty good.
He's fine there, yeah.
I mean that just goes to show that the scheme doesn't fit.
Well, not necessarily the scheme, but the talent. I mean, ACC is nothing compared to the SEC.
That is true. The ACC is not good. Not good in pass defense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have Clemson and Florida State, but that's about it.
Yeah, I won't say good in pass defense. Like last year, Clemson was unstoppable in pass defense, but this year it's... Anyway, back to the quarterback battle. Could you call it a battle between, now that Dobbs has gone out? I mean, he had one incompletion yesterday.
Are you about to say that Dobbs and Dormady is a quarterback battle?
Yeah. I mean, do you not think that? In a way? At all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well,
there is absolutely no way you start Quentin Dormady over a quarterback who has started for who has played for 40.
Listen. Dobbs is. We had this conversation in there. Dobbs is perfect for this scheme.
Exactly. But there's not even a quarterback battle.
But he's not a good quarterback. He's not, and neither is Dormady.
I don't agree. I think Dobbs is a fine quarterback. He gets the job done.
Dobbs gets the job done.
Dobbs can run. Dobbs can throw the ball fine. Quentin Dormady is very inconsistent throwing the ball. He throws the ball in the dirt half the time he throws the ball. He can't run. There's no way there's a quarterback battle here.
Okay, did you see that throw Dormady had yesterday?
Yeah,
he was off his back foot and just made that crazy pass?
He had one good pass.
Oh, come on.
He had one good pass. Josh Dobbs did you see those passes he threw to Josh Malone? That ball that Jennings caught with one hand? Okay. That was a beautiful pass.
Those were beautiful catches, and those were beautiful passes.
I was supposed to say, you better say they're beautiful passes.
They were very beautiful passes. They were great passes. But at the same time, like, people are predicting what you're doing. Like, your teams are figuring out
and
your
you're telling me that when Quentin Dormady is out there, you can't tell me what they're going to do. I could call every single play if Quentin Dormady was going out there.
You have more of a pocket presence.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
No, I don't think so.
I cannot believe we're even having this. We're not even having this conversation. I cannot believe they named you sports editor if you think this.
I know. Okay. I'm going to get you in a headlock before this is over. We had that question about who would win in a fight a couple weeks ago.
We're about to find out. We're about to find out right here.
I'll pop my fingers here. I ain't got my rings today.
This man's trying to start some controversy over here. He's like, I'm going to do this to stir the pot here. He's stirring it.
Oh, I am. But okay, if you don't want to talk about a quarterback conversation, how about a running back conversation? Who should get more carries, Kamara or John Kelly?
John Kelly.
Really?
But here, and my reasoning for this is because I think you throw the ball to Kamara. I think it's probably like 55-45. Like Kelly barely gets, but you can throw the ball to Kamara. When Kelly's in there, stick Kamara at the slot and throw him on those slant passes. Because you saw at A&M, he'd get like 30 yards every time they threw him a slant pass.
Yeah, I could see that, but at the same time, like Kamara's a little leader, and you can't really.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, and
you start Kamara.
Yeah.
You start Kamara.
Yeah, for sure.
You absolutely do. But I just think that running back wise, like. John Kelly will get you the most yards, like running.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Kamara. I just think Kamara is better at multiple things, whereas you don't have to run him as much.
That is true. But I don't know. Like I feel like Kamara's a leader, and he should start. Like we said. Like I do think he should start, but I don't know. He's been in Hurd's shadow for the longest time.
I feel like he's going to break out now because he's the starter. It's all him. You saw what he did with A&M when he started a game. He went off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think that they go to a 2 running back system? Do you think they
No, because if they didn't with Hurd and Kamara, I don't see why they're going to with Kamara and Kelly. I don't know. They're dumb enough to not do that.
Yeah, they are. And, I can't believe that.
They didn't do that. But at the same time, Hurd would just run into his offensive line every time.
That's true. But now you've got these 2 running backs who are both really good at 2 different things. Like Kamara has the speed. John Kelly has speed and power. So maybe you try out like a Chris Johnson, Lindell White type of thing.
I totally forgot about that. Lindell White.
Oh,
wow.
Lindell. It worked for Tennessee that one year they tried it. 13-3, and then they lost to the Ravens in the semifinals.
Ray Lewis went off, yeah. But Kerry Collins was their quarterback. That's incredible.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
And Kerry Collins is terrible.
He's so bad.
He's terrible. He had a great career.
I don't know how he had a great career because he was terrible.
Yeah, he played for it's like 7 different teams.
Yeah, it was, and he started for a lot of them. Yeah, like
Titans and the Raiders. I think he played for the Raiders.
I don't know.
Anyway,
he played for the Panthers at one point.
He did play for the Panthers. Yeah. But yeah, poor quarterbacks can succeed in 2 running back systems. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw Mariota under the bus for a minute. But look at Marcus Mariota. Like, he's had struggles at Tennessee, but DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry
have kind of hidden that.
And DeMarco Murray's one of the best running backs. Well, he looks like one of the best running backs in the league. And you can credit that on an offensive line. The Vols don't have near the offensive line that the Titans have.
I think it's more of their running ability. We're talking about NFL here, which is kind of weird, but I think it's more their running ability. I think because their offensive line has been bad for a few years. And I don't think it's. I think it's better, but I think it's DeMarco Murray's just running well and Derrick Henry. But anyway,
back to kind of let's talk about the SEC. The SEC East is
wide open.
Is a dumpster fire.
It is wide open.
It is. It's
not
wide
only
open.
Does Florida lose to Arkansas yesterday, But Georgia beats Kentucky at Kentucky.
And South Carolina beats Missouri.
Kentucky just can't. Well, that one wasn't surprising me. But Kentucky just can't do anything. They finally get some momentum. I was almost in tears. I saw a tweet yesterday, and it was Kentucky. At one point yesterday, Kentucky was in first place in the SEC East, and then they had to go play football. And I mean, it's so true, though. Like, Kentucky.
That's so true, though.
You know, football-wise, they'll do something good, and then it'll self-destruct. Like, you could lose to Georgia at home. Yeah. Like, no offense to Georgia. That is terrible.
And it's not like this is just it's not like this is a new thing for Kentucky.
No.
Like, weren't they like 4-1 to start out last year? And
well, I mean, the past 2 years ago, Stoops' first year, they were 5-0, and then they lost their last 7 games and didn't go to a bowl game. And they basically did the same thing last year too. Like, it's just a Kentucky thing, and it makes me so funny. Tennessee opened up today as a 15-point favorite, which kind of surprised me. That's a little high.
That is a little high.
I don't know. What is Tennessee in second now in the East? I don't know.
They're tied.
2 and 3. They're tied for.
They're 2 and 3 in the East.
No, they're 3 and 3 because they beat Georgia, Florida, and no, they're 2 and 3.
Yeah,
sorry.
They're 2 and 3.
And Kentucky's 3 and 3. So I guess Kentucky is still
Kentucky would have the upper hand, but if Tennessee wins against Kentucky this weekend, then they would jump into second.
Think about this: Tennessee very well could go to the SEC championship with 3 losses in the SEC.
God, that
blows my mind.
That's weird. That's so weird.
And whatever team, if it's Tennessee or if it's Florida, whoever plays in the SEC championship is going to get obliterated. Florida's offense yesterday was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. Luke Del Rio played the worst game from a quarterback. That it was up there as one of the worst games. And I cannot believe they didn't put Austin Appleby in the game. Because Appleby's terrible, but Luke Del Rio was so bad that he couldn't even give it to those guys like Callaway and I mean any of those running it was just horrible. And their defense, which is so good, gave up 31 points to Arkansas, who scored 3 against Auburn. Yeah. And Arkansas just ran the ball down their throat. Austin Allen did not have a good game, but their running backs just ran it down their throats. Like it was. I mean, Florida looked really bad yesterday.
Florida,
the pressure got to them.
I don't think Florida has a chance to win the SEC East at this point.
I still think they do. But at the same time, I think South Carolina, now looking at them and how bad they played yesterday, I think South Carolina has a chance to beat them next week.
That's true. But, I mean, this Florida team, you don't know which Florida team you're going to get.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's like LSU.
I feel like at this point, there's one Florida team, and it's not a good Florida team.
Yeah, and that Florida offense, like you said, is just abysmal. And that defense is not really
good. Yes, I mean, they were fighting against Georgia, but that was Georgia. Yeah. But I don't know. I just feel like I think Tennessee will. When I hate knock on wood, but I think Tennessee will win the SEC East.
I do too.
But at the same time, you know what's going to happen? It's going to come down. LSU's going to lose that game. It's going to come down to the last week where Tennessee's going to have to beat Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's going to be fired up to play that game. And I know you said it all along that you think Vanderbilt's going to win that game. I don't know.
I still think that Vanderbilt beats Tennessee.
It's definitely, if that ends up being the case, it's definitely going to be an entertaining game nonetheless.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I mean, Vanderbilt held their own against Auburn, which, I mean, that was just kind of seemed like a fluke game.
I think Auburn just got a little cocky, after whooping up on Arkansas and beating Ole Miss. Vanderbilt's defense played well. That jump Cunningham had over the center and blocked that field goal, that is unbelievable. The fact that he didn't, because it's a penalty if he touches him, but he didn't even touch him. He jumped right over the long snapper and
that's one of the greatest field goal blocks I've ever seen.
It was such a Vandy thing to do, where they driving the ball down the field, moving the ball, get a 4th and 16, and then they throw an awful interception.
Tennessee, they still have a chance to win the East. It's a good chance. It's a really good chance now, especially that.
I wouldn't say really good, but I'd say it's a. I don't know.
I would just because seeing how terrible Florida looked yesterday.
And seeing how good LSU's defense looked against Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, 10-0.
10-0. And Jalen Hurts touchdown, they held, and there's a photo I saw, and they held 3 different times in that same play. And so I think, their offense obviously struggled, but that's Alabama. That's going to happen against Alabama.
Yeah, 10 points allowed. I mean, you have an offense against Alabama, and you beat them. I mean... Well, for LSU in that game, I'm sorry. I didn't clarify. But for LSU in that game, if you have an offense at all...
Well, I think LSU's offense is good. I think that quarterback they have is good. But I just think Alabama's just too good. Their defense is just way too good. I don't think if you stuck any offense out there in college football on LSU's team there, I don't think they would have won the game. I still think Alabama would have won.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they hold Leonard Fournette. I mean, everybody's like, oh, Leonard Fournette can't play in the big games. But you're playing it against Alabama's defense. It's just unbelievable. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with, like, I mean, he should probably have more yards than he did, obviously, because he only had like 40 yards. But at the same time, that Alabama defense is just so quick, and LSU's known for their big old bruising offensive line. But when you're playing Alabama and those guys are so fast, they can't catch up to them.
They can't. That's true. Moving on to a different topic now. We said we were going to touch on this, but Butch Jones and his little gesture towards the crowd.
We're not going to say what exactly his words seemed like he said to the crowd. Because so the backstory is it's 35-0. There's 5 seconds left on the clock, and Tennessee's on the 1-yard line.
Yep.
And they kicked a field goal, which I think you go for it, 35-0.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. But at the same time, if you're the fans, you don't boo. You're up 35-0.
Yeah.
There's not been a blowout all season. You're finally blowing a team out, and you're booing. You're booing the team.
Yeah.
So I don't think what Butch Jones said, and I'm sure most of y'all have seen what he said. If not, you look it up because we're not going to repeat it. Like it's pretty vulgar. But I don't think he should have said that. But at the same time, the fans should kind of be ashamed of themselves for booing up 35-0.
They should.
38-0, really. I mean, that's just kind of. That's petty. It's like
it is.
It's like they're just running this team over, and yet you're gonna boo them. Like, what do they have to do to get your cheers?
Yeah, I mean, it's fault on both parties here. I mean, Butch Jones shouldn't have said that, and I do not condone him saying explicit all
of y'all.
Yeah, all of y'all, include talking about the fans. But at the same time, if you're a fan of this program, as down as this program has been over the past decade. You say decade?
Yes.
Decade.
Yeah. Well, close to a decade.
Close to a decade.
06 and 07,
we'll say
they were
7, 8 years.
Yeah.
As down as this program's been over the past 7 to 8 years, I mean, South Carolina, yes, Butch Jones should have said, this is my fault.
And he did, kind of.
And he kind of did, but I don't know.
I don't think he blamed it on the players. I just think he was like, we just...
Yeah, yeah, he didn't really
He didn't blame it on anybody. He just said we just lost.
But yet I noticed Dobbs has taken that loss harder than just about anybody.
Well, I mean, and does that really surprise you, though? Because it was the worst game of his career. He's a captain on the team. He's the only healthy captain. So he puts all the and knowing Josh Dobbs as a person, he puts all the responsibility on himself for that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that, Butch shouldn't have
said that, but the crowd shouldn't have booed.
Yeah, the fans need to respect the process here. We're running a little bit low on time, so we're just going to touch real quick. Tomorrow, I should say, Lady Vols open up.
First game of the exhibition.
I'm going to get this right. Exhibition.
There you go. He says expedition.
I say expedition.
They're going on a trip.
Time. Expedition.
But yeah, they have their first exhibition and their only exhibition game against Carson Newman tomorrow.
They'll destroy him.
They destroyed him last year. I remember that game. That was an ugly game.
But, I was at that game.
I was there too.
Yeah, shout out to Kaylin Brooks. She graduated with me. She's one of Carson Newman's best players. So.
You're not allowed to give people shout outs.
I want to give her a shout out. Yeah, she's a good player with Carson Newman, so I wish her the best tomorrow.
But yeah, it'll be blood. But I'm interested to see how this team looks, just because they don't have that many players. Because Taya Cooper's out for the season.
Yeah,
Andre is announcing the game. I saw that. She's color commentating. That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. So she said she kind of quit the team just because of her injuries, which are understandable because she's had a bunch of knee surgeries.
She has.
And then they lost Bashara. They lost.
Sheridan Green's not playing.
Yeah, Sheridan Green tore ACL.
Yeah.
But Bashara's in the pros. Who else did they lose? Was it Nia Moore's gone, right?
Nia Moore's gone.
And
what is that girl's name?
Jasmine Jones. She couldn't play a lot last season. But
she had a very severe head injury.
Yeah. Well, I think she had just had I was there too. She just had so many concussions that they made her stop. I think she got another concussion. They were like, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. But they only have 10 players, it feels like. So I think they have more than that, but it'll be interesting to see how they played, depth-wise. I'm interested to see how Mercedes Russell plays, just because she's kind of underperformed with the size she has. She played well at the end of the season, though. I remember those games we covered in the NCAA tournament. She played really well.
Yeah, and this team, they're ranked
13th.
Yeah, they're ranked 13th. And without giving too much of a kind of a glance into our preview later this week, I think that they'll be okay for the most
part.
They'll
be fine. They'll probably make the Sweet 16,
probably.
Which is good. Which, if you complain about that and you got something wrong with you.
We're going to have a talk about this on our basketball podcast later this week. But
because they got a lot of crap for making it just to the Elite Eight.
Me and the fans need to have a little chat about what it means to be a successful basketball program.
Trenton, the dad here, is
the dad here needs to step in and say some things. So there's
that, and then just real quick, Friday, first regular season game for the men against Chattanooga Mocs, who well, we'll get into that more, but I believe Chattanooga is probably the favorite in this game. And they're returning a lot of good people, whereas Tennessee's young. And we'll see. I mean, Tennessee played well in the exhibition, but it was slippery rock. But we'll see what happens. We'll go into more detail with that. But.
Yeah, Rob's from Chattanooga, so he'll
be wearing my mock stuff.
He'll have all the secrets to beating Chattanooga.
Malik Foreman's younger brother plays on their team.
That's true. And I actually covered a football game this weekend that Kyler Curbison's brother was an offensive lineman, and he looks just like Kyler. It's crazy. But we'll wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys on the live stream for watching as well. This is Trenton Duffer. That's Rob Harvey. Thanks for watching Checkerboard Chat, and we'll see you later this week.